sometimes in Georgia you gotta have a Coca-Cola to do a pair of shears. Now don't get me wrong, I love it when sharpeners send me shears that they're having problems with for me to check them out, sharpen them, fix them if possible, and videotape it. Gives me something to videotape. I love it, but don't always love it when it's a left-handed groomer that is 8 inches. Longer shears are harder. Left-handed's even harder. And groomers, there's no telling what they've done to them. So let's see if I can fix these. So I'm Bonnie Megowan. I'm wearing my Sharpener's Jam t-shirt. We have that as an annual event each year, and you need to make sure that you're on my email list so you can find out about it, or join my Facebook group, which is the Sharpener's Jam group. And we did it online the last 2 years. This year I think we're going to go back to some in person, some online. I don't know, a blended type of thing. So like divorced families or something. Who knows? But here, I got these shears in from a sharpener, and he always attends our jams, by the way. And he says, these are the shears left-handed. Well, that's obvious. You see how they cross backwards? I mentioned in a text where I just can't seem to get the tips to cut. These are for a groomer, and she mentioned the tips are not cutting properly. I may have overworked the ride line towards the end. All right, ride is wiped out, and I'll let you see that. But let's see how they cut first. And I got to hold them in my left hand. So since they're groomers, we're doing fuzzy hair. Let's see what's going on. Oh, flipping it. Yep, it is flipping. Some of my previous videos, I've said there was 2 things that make the hair flip or bend, or what you saw it was doing. I'll do it again so you can see closer maybe. Here's some like puppy dog hair. And I'm going to do it this way where you can see sideways. You see how it flips at the last ½ inch. So a loose screw, well, we don't have that problem here. A edge that is kind of polished over or rounded over. It's a possibility. And then it could also be out of alignment. That's the hardest one to fix. Easiest is a screw, so you check that. That's working good. I'm going to see about that edge, but I'm kind of suspecting an alignment issue just because of the way the tips look. So when I open these up, you can definitely see how that tip is stripped on both blades, that's unusual. Usually if it's an alignment problem and the tip's stripped, it will be on one blade and not the other because they're sort of bent this way or bent the opposite way. So I'm going to just work on sharpening them and just see how that works. Before I sharpen these, I was out sharpening in the salon yesterday, and I thought you might want to see how long it takes me to set everything up to sharpen and how I do it. And have that as part of this too. You're not going to see me drinking Cokes much, but I got a headache today. I don't know if the Coke's going to make me set everything up faster or slower, but I bring everything in this rolling toolbox that I paid maybe $35 for, something like that, at one of the big box store, one of the big box hardware stores. Is a Craftsman. So I like this one because it has just the right amount of room for my Cymec and everything else. And it breaks it down into 3 parts so that I don't have to pick this whole thing up to put into my car. This here is all my scissor parts. And I keep it pretty well messy, kind of organized. Organized mess. This is the mat that I normally take to the salons, but I'm not going to need it here because I've got my mat. My toilet tissue I take to the salons, which I put in one of these little rolls so it doesn't roll all over the place and doesn't necessarily look like toilet tissue. Receipt book, microfiber cloths, apron. I'm going to put these back in here. This is my machine, and I have an extra cord I leave in here so I don't have to carry this back and forth. So I'm going to plug this in. And this is my Cymac. It is all USA made, steel. It's hefty, but that means it doesn't vibrate. You don't want something so light that when you're trying to sharpen it vibrates all over. And I can sit down to sharpen it. So I'm going to put this back in here. And I'm not really timing myself, but I guess I can when I edit this to see how long this takes. Set that underneath here. And the rest of my tools are in the top part here. Now I used them all up yesterday, but I used business cards here. I have Band-Aids and things up here, but I forget about those sections for this. I actually have an extra stone that I leave in here, so I'm not going to need to take that out. My plates, my water bottle can stay. I started using this. I bought that to go between your seats in your car, but I'm finding it works well for holding up the more common things I'm using, reaching over to grab them. I'm trying to get more organized. And all of this can go back in here. As much as I can duplicate and not have to carry back and forth and set up, I do. But I have all my goodies in one container. And I will set these out here as needed. And I can put my plates on my rack. Or I have a rack behind here too. I don't know if you can see that. I tend to collect these. I think I've mentioned before on the videos that I do go to garage sales and find these racks. I used to buy them, and we used to buy them and resell them for people that came in for sharpening and training. I bought our machine, but I can't get them anymore, so. I think it's Misty's phone. You'll hear noise in the background with the phone ringing and so forth. But this is Friday, Fridays are hit or miss around here. Either they're real busy or real slow. So, I'm set up. Pretty much. Always cell phone with me. And I'm pretty much ready to go because I just grab things out of here as I need them. So we're going to just go over and sharpen this 8-inch shear. So I'm going to take his 8-inch shear, and all I'm going to do is go over it again, pull up a burr, and cut the burr off, because the ride line looks pretty good. If that fixes it, that fixes it. If not, I might want to check the alignment on it. Normally I would just sharpen this, find the right angle. Look at there. I'm forgetting it's a left-handed shear. I pull this off. I can put this back on this side if I like. Or just leave it off, whatever. And then if I want to move my light to the other side, I can, or just... And I'm going to be coming in here. Without even putting these on the alignment bar, I can pretty well guess that with the tip as wide as it is and this is narrow, it's probably got too much of a bend. I'm just making sure it does have a ride all the way down. And it does. I'm going to ignore the ride line. I'm going to color them in with my red Sharpie. Another sip of Coca-Cola. Here's a worn 800. You know that's my favorite one. Break in a new 800. And these go on like Velcro. And this is a cushion plate. Cushion for convex. Gives you a little bit better convex shape. And I have my clamp set at 40. I'm thinking that's about what it should be. I'm going to do a little scratch. Now see, here's the problem with the 8-inch. That's why if you're going to be doing a lot of left-handed 8 inches, it's good to have the groomer upgrade because this moves over here and you've got more room to work. You're not hitting this. So I'm having to adjust a little bit. There we go. I think I can make it. And I'm not going to turn the machine on. I'm just going to do a scratch. And it looks like it's more blunt than a 40 degrees. This being a groomer shear, and it's not cutting at the tip, and it's left-handed, I think I'm gonna leave it at 40. I might go back to my fresher 800 because I'm having to move it up from whatever it is, 35 to 40. And I'm just gonna do a little semi-convex. And these really look like they were semi-convexed. So I'm going to do this, and this is what I'm going to be doing. I need to make sure I'm going opposite direction. And I go fairly slow just because I'm not used to doing 8-inch left-handed shears. And I would have had a hard time doing these without taking them apart with them being this long and left-handed. See, I'm not pulling up a burr. I love it when I get text from the sharpener. He says, successful in repair of the curved 8-inch big reds. I returned them to the customer yesterday. He's pleased. Thanks again for your help. So not everything is on video. A lot of it is people calling on the phone and I give them suggestions. But just as a reminder, My best videos are only for the people that come in for training, that pay for training, and my best suggestions are when we're here person to person. It's just not the same as over the phone or these little quick videos I shoot. See, I'm not pulling up a burr. I'm thinking these were folding hair because they just weren't sharp enough. I think I'm going to switch to that. Remember I said I had a 400 grit? It's slightly used, but it's a lot coarser. Deliberately have to tell myself going that way. I don't really want to go a whole lot faster because these are 8-inch left-handed ones and I'm drinking Coke. And you notice I feel with these fingers. Just the beginning of a burr. A little bit faster. Don't want any bloodletting today. The light down below lets me know if I'm hitting the pad. That's really more helpful for me with it below than if it was above. Burr, 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 none, 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 none. Now, even though I've got the burr in this area, I'm still going to start back here because I want that, and then I'm going to slow down. I want to keep that consistent angle. Now this is why I like to put the red Sharpie on here. I can feel a burr all the way down, but if I look, I'll let you see this. Right at the tippy tip edge, there's still some red. Yeah, I think you can see that. There's just a little bit of red right there at the tippy tip. So I've got to keep going until all that red is gone. And sometimes you've taken off the red and you haven't removed the metal. So just because the red's gone doesn't mean you've got a burr. I'm still, even though I just want to work on the tippy tip, I'm going to start back here. Going all the way across. I'm going across fairly fast and then slower. But I don't want to do too much of a turn this way because then I'll take way too much metal off at the tip. Okay. That looks good. Now let me do the other blade. And what I need to contemplate while I'm doing this is if I want to knock that burr off going to my Waterstone, if I just want to cut the burr off, do I want to go to something more polished than 800? But I can contemplate all that while I'm sharpening this blade. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Yeah. When they get warm, you can smell the puppy dog on them. Nowhere near. I don't know what angle he sharpened them at, but I would have done these at least at 40 degrees. Okay, I have a burr starting here, not down there. Ooh, I may have it now. That looks good. Why don't I compromise? I'll leave that at the 400. I'll take this on down to the worn 800. So one side will be a little bit rougher, or a little bit more toothy, and the other side will be a little bit more smooth. You can always come back and smooth it out more if we need to. But I don't think they're going to be slide cutting like a hairstylist would. So I'm going to put it back together. Get me a paper towel. And just cut the burr off. Then I might go back and smooth it afterwards. That may work, and then again it may not. So now I'm going to cut my burr off, and I'll let you see how I do it. I'm actually using pressure, so I'm using my left hand, and I'm going to cut a little ways, and I'm going to come in another piece, and I'm going to cut a little bit more. And that part I already cut beforehand. Now I'm going all the way down to the tip. And it's still not cutting at the tip, but we're not done yet. I might get my stone, wet it, just sort of smooth things off on the inside. Figure out what's going on with that tip. Handy dandy nail buffer will fix a lot of things. I haven't cleaned the red off of it. I've left it on there. But if it's not cutting the paper towel, it's not likely to cut. Okay, I feel burr on the inside on that tip there. Man, he's crazy being left-handed. This would be so much easier if these were right-handed. Alright, that burr's not completely gone. Let's see if I did anything. Let's see if they're at least better. And see if we're progressing in the right direction. Looks like a little less of the blade is folding. Alright, this is one of these don't do as I say, don't do as I do. Normally I would not do this without asking and calling my customer, but I'm going to do a little bit of a bend here in the center. trying to bring those tips together. But I'm working at the middle of the blade, not at the tip. Huh. Remember how it didn't cut the paper? Oh, it's catching just ever so tiny there, a little bit. Let's see. So undoubtedly that's the right thing to do, that bending. It was closer. Do I dare bend it a little bit more? Don't do this without glasses. Don't do it without permission. And remember, it's left-handed shears, so don't dare bend any closer to the tip than that, especially without asking permission. I almost went beyond where I said I was going to go. It's not there yet. So the next thing I'm going to try, flat plate, or an 800. As you know, it's my favorite. And I'm going to pop this down to a 35 degrees. Lower will fix some things, higher won't fix. Before I do that, let's try my son-in-law Jay's idea. He does this a lot and this works. You can get either a rougher one of these or the rougher side of your nail buffer and just go over the outside with a rougher. So I'm creating a little bit, almost like a micro serration. Less is more. Let's see if that fixed it first before I go any further. Nope, didn't fix it. Okay, so 35. I'm going to do the back blade. Actually, see, they cut. I'm not a groomer. They cut like this and like that. Maybe this blade needs to be the one that has the most. If I can get it in here. Our clamp allows you to put it in without taking them apart. It has a little cutout area here that the screw goes in that cutout area. That was one of the innovations from our original Cymec to the ones that we have now. Not a lot of changes from the very earliest, oldest Cymex, the recent ones. It's just kind of minor things. Alright, so I'm going left, a little bit blunter angle. Sometimes if you slant it down more, you get that tip better. I'm going to move this little thing up and see if I can slant it. When I talk about slanting, I'm talking about more this way in the clamp. So I move this up so I can angle this down a little bit more. So that tip is like pretty low down. Now I never want to touch below past the center here. I've got a teeny burr all the way down. It's really wimpy right there, so I'm going to go over it again. That might have been where I was bending it a little bit. I think I need another Coca-Cola on this one. Friday afternoon. Friday, left-handed groomer scissors. Oh, I think that fixed it. Please, please. Teensy pull at the tip, but I think that's got it. Pull this up, do it sideways so you can see, and look at there. Let's see if it cuts the thick, way down here thick. Felt a little pull, but I don't need to check the all the way down because I bent them, and I might have done something to the middle of it, so it'd be awful if I fixed the tip and didn't fix the back. Just a teensy pull. I'm going to round this off for two reasons. One, that's where it's pulling, and I've got a little fuzz left here, just a tad, and so I'll shorten it. Oh, I lost my little fuzz. Get it back again. I've got my little bit of fuzz right here, so I'm going to shorten it down below the fuzz, and that'll also round it off, because if they're doing a dog, now it doesn't matter if I'm going left or right, so I'm just used to going this direction, so as long as I'm staying over here, I'm good to go. And I'm just watching for that little fuzz that was caught in the tip to go flying off. And I want to make sure this is rounded, because you wouldn't want to stab a dog. I think that's got it. One more chance. Yep. So I got to clean the red Sharpie off, tie it with a little blue bow, and put it in the package and send it back. Sometimes it takes a Coca-Cola to get you through a pair of shears like these. Left-handed, strip tip, 8-inch grooming shears.